What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, and I'm going to answer the question, can NIO actually break past $100 this year, or are we going to trade a little bit more sideways before we see more bullish price action later on? So I'm going to break down what my prediction is, where I see the outlook for the remainder of this year for NIO, and whether the Fed is actually going to have a very big effect on it or not based off what we are seeing. Now, before I break any of this down and get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, but benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull with the link down below and deposit any amount of money, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You are guaranteed 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. You could always sell these 5 free stocks for cash, whether it's worth $100, $200, it's up to you. You could sell them and buy some NIO shares with that money. This is a limited time offer that ends in 2 weeks, so please check it out to get your free NIO shares. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So, anyways, looking at NIO, I did talk about the fact that this company has a stock that's essentially resembling a Wyckoff accumulation schematic right now. And I want to talk about the context of the situation we're in for the market. So, right now, I think a lot of you guys have heard about this. We have a lot of FOMC meetings for the remainder of the year. We have one coming up in May, another one in June, July, September, November, and December. And in my opinion, I do expect us to see a lot of rate hikes during these. But do I think they're all going to have rate hikes? I think the ones upcoming for like May, June, July, they should. But depending on how inflation or the CPI data responds to that, then we're going to see if they continue on with more of these rate hikes. Now, some people out there, such as the Fed's Evans, he essentially stated that he sees 7 rate hikes this year, but says that this could change relatively quick. So he is not necessarily trying to be unrealistic in a sense. He's just giving his own opinion. And he does think that the US central bank has to change monetary policy, which in turn is going to affect many factors out there, right? It's going to affect how our economy functions. It's going to slow things down. It's going to make bonds look a lot more enticing, as we are seeing a very high reverse repo in the market, which just goes to show that banks are not as faithful in the markets as they were before. So the market is kind of in a shaky place, right? It looks quite shaky. And as a result of this, the fundamentals of a company, they can help it to some degree, but not entirely, right? The entire market can collectively take a bit of a hit because of this. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the world or we're in the Great Depression. It just means that the Fed is essentially dealing with these issues that they should have dealt with a lot earlier, in my opinion. And as a result of this, we may see some sideways price action continue for many months to come until we get that really good push, I would say, later on. So I want to actually give you guys an example of how this could play out. Because if you zoom out of the chart, right, we saw many examples of this essentially following Wyckoff. So if we go back here, I'm going to show you this. So right here, we saw a mini example right here of Wyckoff playing out this accumulation schematic, which essentially means that these shorts, they go short on top right here. They pushed NIO down, and then the way this thing responded was very, very similar to this right here. And they follow these accumulation patterns. They do this because it works for them and makes them money. So let's just go over one example first before I talk about why I think this may end up dictating how NIO moves for the future. So NIO was in the $66 range. Okay. Then we were trading sideways. Then we started dropping. So I think right here, we would have this point of support. Then we ended up running up. Then we dropped to the selling climax. We got the automatic reaction to $46. Then we pushed down to the sell test phase. And you guys could see these two tops that formed, very similar to this. Then we get pushed down even harder for the spring. So this pushed NIO down. The spring pushed NIO to 31 bucks. Then after the spring, we get that nice push to the upside. After we hit 31 bucks for the spring, we pushed all the way up to about $55. So it's pretty obvious that this often plays out. Does it always play out perfectly? No, but there are many instances where when we enter that accumulation phase, and I think that this is what may end up dictating NIO for the future. So let's draw this out. How may this thing respond? Well, let's go down to the preliminary support phase. So where would that be? It appears it's one of these two. It appears like it's right here. So right here, let me just type this out real quick. We have the preliminary support. Whoops. Just like that. Right here. Okay, then where is the selling climax? This bottom right here is the selling climax. Do you guys see that? It's pretty incredible how this actually plays out and what happens after we hit the selling climax. NIO has a bit of a run. This is the automatic reaction. This pushed NIO. I'm not sure if we already saw the top here, or if it's this one, but let's just say it's right here, 24 bucks. So right now, we witnessed a lot of these phases. The automatic reaction phase played out. That would be like the phase B part. And then after that comes the sell test. So you could argue that the sell test is about to come like around here. We're getting very close to it. And we should get a bounce after that. The question is, where is the bottom? And that's something I don't truly know. I don't know if it's like the bounce is going to come here or if it's going to take us all the way down here. But I want to give you guys an example of how this thing may run, just to give you guys a good understanding of what the future may play out. So this line right here, this vertical line would be like around the start of 2023, kind of like right here. How may NIO move for the remainder of the year? Well, one thing that I need to mention is I don't truly know how we're going to end up towards the end of the year, because the US could enter a recession. It's very possible, but this is what I would expect from a macro perspective. NIO may have found its bottom and may start pushing up, or this thing might push down kind of like this, fill this gap, and that would be our sell test. Then we push up after we already had that automatic reaction. This is after we get the announcement of the rate hikes, right? The 50 basis point rate hikes. Now, I am a little bit bullish going into next week, so don't expect it to just be a downward trend straight up to this bottom. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to show you guys what the trend may show us. So that means that next week could be kind of bullish, but then the week after could cause us to drop even harder. And that's just an example, right? It's also possible that we kind of just start pushing up from here. Like, take this with a grain of salt, is what I'm trying to say. But we're going to maybe push down a little bit and push up. Maybe like this. And we may keep pushing up as high as that 25 range. Then we're probably going to get another rejection during the next rate hike meeting, because June 14th through the 15th is when we have the next FOMC meeting. So during that time, it's possible something big happens and we get pushed down again. Now, that doesn't mean we have to push down all the way like to a super low level. It is possible we get pushed down to that 16, 17 range after in anticipation of the FOMC meeting. Then after we start running up again, going back and forth, trading sideways essentially for the next few months, it's very possible that NIO does this. Then right here, we have another meeting around the end of July. Maybe that pushes us down even harder. Maybe the US enters a recession, and this is our like signal. So NIO gets pushed down one last time, right? That's also very possible. But after that, we find our spring, then we start pushing and pushing and pushing right back up. And then this market essentially remains a lot more bullish, continues like this, and we have a really, really nice close to the year, all the way back in that $50, $60 range, maybe even higher, as we see that expansion kind of play out. So it is possible that we push really hard towards the last few months of the year, and we push as high as that 60 range. It's possible. 60 to 70, it's very, very possible. So I just wanted to give you guys an example of what could play out, not a guarantee, but This is just something you should at least have at the back of your mind because Wyckoff has a lot of merit, right? See the way this thing pushed up? That is similar to this right here. This trend right here. See this giant W that formed? It kind of looks like a W. Very similar. We got that push up after we hit that spring. That is what may end up happening to NIO. So if you're a long-term holder, if you want to hold this thing for years, you should not be worried about all these swings because the end result is most likely going to be very good. And also take this with a grain of salt. It could be lower, it could be much higher, right? You never know. NIO could end up in a short squeeze. So maybe you could get pushed to the hundreds. I don't truly know. But my main point is this. If you're a long-term investor, you just hold, you wait it out, it's looking good. If you're a short-term investor, if you are a day trader, just know that there may be a lot of volatility, lots of sideways action for the next few months, as we are seeing lots of these FOMC meetings coming out, lots of rate hikes potentially. But we want to see how inflation responds to this, right? That's the main thing that the Fed is after. And after all this is out of the way, I think things are going to look much better for the future. I think NIO is going to be expanding to many countries. They're going to get better, they're going to get stronger, and I can't wait for what the future holds. I'm still very bullish. So, short term, if you're a day trader, pay attention to your indicators and get ready because there may be some sideways action here and there. There could be some bearish price action, but for the long term, I expect really, really good price action. And I do see this thing getting pushed back to really, really good levels for the future. So, no worries. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Be very patient. And just know this is not the end. This is only the beginning. And as this company grows and expands, it's going to destroy the shorts narrative, and this thing is going to run to the absolute moon. So I thank you. Have a great weekend. NIO to the moon, and peace out.